Ons het nou vanoggend gesels oor entrepreneurskap en oor start-ups en baie interessant geweest. Jy weet daar's 'n kompetisie, jy kan nou gaan soek en dit jy selfs 'n idee of as jy iets fisies uitgedink het of gebou het of gemaak het en ons het nou iemand in die ateljee. Dit is ongelooflik interessant. Ivan Brown, meesterstudent van Universiteit van Johannesburg en hy is 'n industriële ontwerp waarmee hy besig is, maar hy het 'n sement Byekorwe gemaak. So Ivan, welcome. Cement beehive. It's just so weird, but before we get there, just tell us about yourself, where you're from, what you're studying, how old are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I am 23 years old. I'm studying industrial design at the University of Johannesburg. I'm currently doing my master's, and yeah.
So what did you study before your master's?
I did my degree in industrial design, and then now I'm following it on in industrial design.
So this beehive in cement, how did you come up with this idea? Where did that start?
Well, I've always been interested in bees. My mother kept bees when I was growing up, so I've always had a fascination for them. They're amazing creatures. And our department at UJ is involved in an urban agriculture initiative that's focused on creating socioeconomic development in low-income urban communities in Gauteng, and to also create food security and get people to start eating healthily and growing their own food closer to home. And this kind of interested me, and I really wanted to get involved with it. So at the start of the project, I was looking for opportunities to help increase the farmers' capabilities for their incomes. And I stumbled across projects where they were using beekeeping in rural communities to stimulate socioeconomic development and get people to generate more incomes through honey and to protect the pollinators. And after doing a bit more research, I found that the beekeeping industry was also in a lot of peril at the moment with the bee crisis around the world. So it really kind of presented a nice, we call it a wicked problem, to really sink my teeth into and get going on a really awesome project.
I realize because in Pretoria, if you've got an owl house, you know, this wooden owl houses, they all become beehives. You know, the bees just take them over.
Yeah.
That's what happened at our place. I don't know the rest of the country. But cement, why cement?
Well, the project started off with me looking for ways to make beehives more appropriate and more accessible, and appropriate in terms of for the urban environment and easier for urban farmers to use. And then accessible in terms of cost, and because beekeeping equipment can be quite expensive, and there are a number of problems that exist for beekeepers. And so for me trying to solve those problems, I kind of ended up with concrete for one of the beehives. Some of the problems in South Africa are things like theft. Theft's a huge problem, and vandalism from honey badgers and from people. So concrete presents quite a nice material to increase the protection of the hive in terms of strength and durability as well. And by adding a lightweight aggregate, I know you're thinking concrete hive, it's going to be quite heavy.
Yes.
So I've added a lightweight aggregate to the concrete, which makes it light enough to move around and pick up. And that also increases the insulation of the hive for the bees, protecting them from heat and sound, especially in the urban environment where bees don't really like sound. And yeah.
Wow. It's funny because it's a business that you've got like two enemies, animals and humans. You know, it's not like stealing a car. There's no animals going to steal your car, you know, but with the badges, we don't even think about that.
I just quickly want to ask, because I mean, surely you had to do a lot of research, and you're currently still a master's student. The concept of this, was this birthed through your studies?
Yeah, it started as my BTech project last year. So I worked on it for 6 months, and I worked with the beekeepers and with the urban farmers to develop the beehives and the system for helping the urban farmers become beekeepers. And now I was able to take it forward into my master's, as we have to do
as further research, basically.
Yeah.
So the concept, the question I would like to ask you then, because usually when you do research for the university, even when you do your master's, they keep the rights to that. So this, are you the owner of the rights to this project, or how does it work?
Well, no, the university will own the copyright, or about 75% of it, but which is not necessarily a bad thing. The university has a lot of resources that I can make use of in terms of backing me up if I want to go forward and create a business. They have a lot of people that can do patents and businesses that work for them.
Fees must fall. Just for backgrounds, bees are very important to the ecology, but why are they in danger?
Well, there's a lot of theories and reasons that could be the reason for the bee decline around the world. Things like the import and export of honey leading to pests and diseases that affect bees being spread all over the world. There are things like pesticides and sulfur frequencies that cause bees to die and swarms to collapse. And then there's my favorite theory, alien abduction, which explains the disappearing colonies. But in South Africa, mostly our biggest problem is theft and vandalism, as well as the new diseases that are being brought in, like American foul brood, where beekeepers will have to, if their hive gets infected but with the bacteria, they'll have to burn the entire box as well as all the bees. And with the concrete hive, it's nice that we'll be able to burn the hive and treat it to get rid of the bacteria and then reuse the hive so the beekeepers are not losing out.
And it's a fact that if bees disappear, that humans will disappear.
Well,
or is that the far-fetched version?
That's the movie version. But bees are hugely important to our agricultural crops for pollination. But only about 70% of our agricultural crops depend on them. So we will survive without them, but it'll be a huge hit to economies that rely on farming, especially such as South Africa.
How many of these beehives have you built already that you're trying out?
So the first batch, I've got funding from the university as well as PPC and Neopac to buy the materials to create the beehives that I'll be able to produce 10 of each. So I'll be giving about 5 or 6 beekeepers and then 5 or 6 urban farmers. And over the next year, we'll be testing them rigorously and refining the design and the system.
So this is also part of the testing process also for your masters. And then the testing process itself, how long is that going to be?
We'll start in spring when the bees start getting active again, and then run it until about May next year. Okay. And then from May, we'll start redeveloping the designs and refining it so that we can get a system and a product that is ready for implementation.
Wow.
Are you focused just on bees, or are you working on other projects as well?
I've also been doing a bit of part-time lecturing for the university to fund my studies, but also on the farm we always have projects going on. We're always building and making things, and I'm never have idle hands.
So if there's like bee farmers listening to the program, watching the program now, can they contact you guys and say, listen, we want this on our farms, or is it not in production yet?
Yeah, so we have to really refine the design, but by the end of next year, we will hopefully have the system ready. And my goal is not to really produce the hives myself. I've also been working on the production tools for the beehive. So a mold for the concrete beehives and a pattern for the cardboard beehives that I will be able to sell to beekeepers and to people that are interested in producing the hives themselves for their community or on site.
And your experience, do you think, like private sector, in South Africa, there's a lot of opportunities to start a business? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to do business, even if this is not your copyright, they're keeping it. How's your experience as a young person, being 23, for the future of South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, especially in Johannesburg, everyone's really an entrepreneur. Everyone you meet has an idea and is really getting into wanting to start their own company, even if they're working for someone else. And a few of my friends have already started their own companies and they're doing really well. And it's really an inspiration. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for creating growth. That's why I want to kind of give the molds and put the production in the hands of the people rather than separate it from the community and get the hives made somewhere else and bring them in from elsewhere. I really wanted to become like a closed system.
When was the last time you've been stung by a bee?
I think I got stung a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, it's a hazard of the job.
Yeah, you're not allergic to bees?
No.
Hopefully not. That's just chaos. There's a lot of people who are really scared of bees. Thank you so much. I think it's amazing. I mean, just inventing stuff. And that's why I say, for me, I would have never thought, developing beehives and making it better. So it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for the university that's helping. Huh?
Ja, definitely.
Ons moet nou maar ook miskien weer teruggaan. Jy het net
ek is nog steeds daar. Ek is bydes nou op die eindpunt. So nee, ek sal eers 'n breek wil vat. Dankie vir my.
So ons het nou gesels Ivan Brown en iemand om dop te hou, en as jy ook dan nou belangstelling in, maak seker jy volg hom of probeer hom opspoor om uit te vind presies hoe die tegnologie werk. Maar kom ons kyk vinnig hoe lyk die paaie.